Folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It is blistering hot today, and I just didn't want to stand up any longer. Been out in the garden as much as I can tolerate. Decided to try to find a shady spot where it's still pretty hot in the shade. But anyways, today we're going to talk about what's going on with the military. I'm sure many of you have probably seen this. Some of you probably haven't. So we'll talk about this, and it is in regards to the Charlie Victor 19, and it's not good. And I think, again, I know I'm just some conspiracy, crazy person, but I think it's all part of their plan. So we'll get into that here in just a minute. I wanted to mention to you a couple of things. Our local meeting is this month, the 17th. And I'm excited for this meeting because we have a special guest. It's a dentist that lives about 2 hours from us. And he's been a dentist for 30 years and has a big practice, but he's also a prepper, and he's been a prepper for well over a decade. And he's put together some classes on emergency dentistry, and this month he's going to teach us how to put together an emergency dental kit. If things hit the fan and it gets really bad and you can't get to a dentist and you have a broken tooth or a cavity or something like that, what are some of the things that you need to keep on hand? Much like your home first aid kit, your IFAC, your individual first aid kit that you'd carry on your gear, well, you should have a dental first aid kit. And he's going to teach us how to put that together and what the items are for. So we're real excited about that. But anyways, that meeting is the 17th of July. So if you're in the area and would like to attend, shoot me an email. It's down in the description below, and I'll get you those details of how to come to the meeting. The second thing is this My Patriots supply company that I work with. They're still running their special, their sale on emergency long-term freeze-dried food. So if you are still wanting to get in on that, you can go to preparewithtravis.com. Preparewithtravis.com. There's a link also down in the description, and you can get a 4-week food supply for $50 off, or a 3-month food supply for $150 off the regular price. And this is all American-made stuff, good high-quality, restaurant-quality food that you can do, and that's a good addition to your preps that you're stocking up on. So let's get on with this news stuff, because I think this is pretty important. And some of you veterans, some of you may be still in the military. I have family that's still in, and of course I'm not going to talk about them specifically, but we have talked privately about this stuff that's going on, and it's serious. They're still pushing the ding, 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 ding on the military. It's still mandated, and I know I'm just going to get this out of the way with right off the bat. A lot of people say, yeah, but there's all kinds of shots and stuff that are mandated in the military when you join. That's true. But this one is different because it's experimental. It was never, it was on an emergency status, and it's experimental, and that makes it different. They can't force an experimental something on you. And so it's in violation of like international law. I think the Geneva Convention, there's all kinds of violations when you're forcing your military personnel to take experimental drugs. So there's that. But anyways, so they have been pushing that, even though most average American person is probably thinking, well, that's all over. I mean, I understand that there's still some areas of the country that people are still wigging out about the thing, and they're probably still wearing their stuff, religiously, and all kinds of restrictions imposed, probably voluntarily. But the fact is, the vast majority of America, especially the flyover states, business is back to normal, and as much as possible regarding everything else going on. But the military is not so much. And there are now 40,000 National Guard and reservists that have refused to take the thing, and they're in jeopardy of getting booted out. As of the current information that I could find, they have been restricted from drill. They're not allowed to attend their monthly drill. They're restricting their pay and benefits because of this. And they had, I think, until last Thursday is what I understood, to get caught up on this. And so there's 40,000 of them. There's articles all over the country. You know, here's one from Minnesota talking about Minnesota Guard troops. Here's one from Arkansas. They're just about every state. There are troops, you know, National Guard or reservists that are refusing to get it. And it looks like there's a strong possibility of them just being kicked out, them being discharged. I doubt that it'll be dishonorably discharged, but it's very possibly it could be without honors discharge. I'm not an expert on that, but that there is I think, a possibility. I remember that the so-called president had indicated that he wanted them dishonorably discharged, which that's I highly doubt that would happen. But the point is that we are talking 40,000 National Guard and reservists. That's almost 10% of the National Guard force, which is somewhere around 450,000 guardsmen and women. Guard persons, okay? Guard persons. This is I consider a big deal, okay? Because in the last 2 years, really, if you go all the way back to the November election of 2020, we saw almost immediately this effort to single out what I would consider the real patriotic soldiers, the ones that are in there for the right reasons, the ones that are there to actually uphold their oaths that they take to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. There's been this obvious effort. They've called them patriot extremists. They have singled them out. We saw that in Washington, D.C. during that whole fiasco in January where they were wanting to interview, and I guess they did. Since then, there has been just numerous reports, whether it's publicly or just people sending them to me that are actually in the service or their family members are in the service, and so they're telling me through them that there's been all kinds of classes in every branch of service, from officers to enlisted to NCOs, that are really, in a sense, trying to kind of brainwash them, okay? I mean, that's really to put it bluntly. They're trying to weed out the patriots. They're trying to weed out the people that would question an illegal order, because as any of you that's ever served, you know that you don't just obey every single order that's given to you, because occasionally, and it's possible, that sometimes those orders are wrong. They're illegal. You have an obligation, you have a duty to not obey those orders. And that's the beauty of how our form of government and our military is set up. It's not a dictatorship. It's not tyranny. It's not meant to be anyways. And so just because a commanding officer tells you to do something, you don't do it as long as you know that it's not a legal order given. And I firmly believe that one of the points to all this is to weed out the people. They only want yes men and women and people of whatever they want to call themselves. And I think that's what we're seeing happen here, because I know that this may be a stretch, okay? But I would almost guarantee you that those 40,000 that are refusing this are probably 40,000 real patriots. And I'm not saying that the rest, the other 90% or so, aren't. I'm just saying that those 40,000 are probably the type of people that would strongly question an order that is a little sketchy, that would maybe even possibly stand up against that and do the right thing when it comes to their constitutional duty. And of course, the people in power don't want that. They don't want that kind of a person. They want yes men. You know, they want people that will just follow an order blindly, that will do things that history has shown end up being very bad. That history has taught us that nations that go down this path with their armed military end up doing really bad things, really horrible things to the people. And I firmly believe that's the type of military that they're wanting. They're wanting a woke military. I mean, that's obvious. The ridiculousness that's goes on. I saw, many of you may have seen it. There was a training video from the Navy that was floating around a couple of weeks ago online. And it was a training video to Navy personnel on how to use the proper pronouns when addressing, your fellow, person, okay, and how to ask and how to introduce yourself and how to use them, and why it's so important that to use the pronouns of their chosen gender. And this was a Navy training video. We've seen this kind of stuff just continue to get worse at a pretty rapid level. And then now we have this 40,000 National Guard and reservists that are saying, listen, we're not doing this. You're not forcing this on us. This is wrong. And it looks like that there's a strong possibility that they will somehow push them out, weed them out, kick them out. Like I said, at least right now, it appears that they're not going to be receiving any pay, benefits, or be allowed to participate in training drills. So it's not too much more of a step to just boot them out. The more we do this, the more of these that we kick out, the worse our military becomes, and the more dangerous it becomes. This has been an effort, I believe, that started way back in the Obama administration of getting the most woke generals and top brass as they could, the most progressive, liberal, Marxist officers that they could in the officer corps, and we've seen how what the results of that are. I was actually watching, excuse me, it was in the last couple of days. It was some recent, I'm talking like in the last year or two. I believe most of it was within, the last 12 months of training videos from the various branches of service, like boot camp type videos. And it was astonishing, the stuff that I saw, the kind of wokeness that it's maybe not quite as out in the open and open on their sleeve as you would see maybe if you went to San Francisco or something, but it's definitely there. I mean, it's absolutely definitely there in their training and the stuff that they're doing, and the people that are being recruited more and more are the woke people. We're seeing recruitment numbers in the typically high recruitment areas of the Midwest and the South. That's where, it's a good recruitment area. Good old country boys going off to serve. We're seeing less and less of them, and we're seeing more and more of the progressive liberal type joining the military ranks, because that's what they're selling themselves to. There's been just in the last year or so the videos that's being made, the commercials and stuff, the recruitment videos, to try to entice people to come and join the military. The videos are talking about, these progressive left, non-binary, multi-gender people, encouraging them to come and join the military. This is one of the many things that are happening right now. That's a very dark path for us to be going down. And I cannot see it ending in a good way. That when the powers that be in this government and internationally finally decide to start cracking down on certain laws or enforcing certain rulings, certain executive orders, or whatever it is, whether it be guns or family or property or whatever it is, who's going to prevent them from going over the edge into tyranny? Well, in the past, it's always been believed that our military, that was part of the checks and balances that our founders put in, was us being able to have a firearm, and that when the military was created in the way that it was, that it wasn't some tyrannical controlled military like what you see in these despot countries, that our military would also be a check and balance, that a president could not become dictator and control the whole country, because the military would step in and say, no, we don't take our oath to you, to your office, or to you, a person, or even to the government. They don't take their oath of office to the government. They take their oath of office to the Constitution, which enshrines and is meant to protect the inalienable rights and freedoms that you and I have been given by Almighty Creator. And if we continually water down our military with this progressive leftism, and we kick out all the people, or we encourage them to leave, that are the true patriots, what are we left with? We're left with a military that's really not much different than we would see in these very tyrannical type of countries that we've all heard about and learned about over the years. This is a pretty serious thing, I believe, and I think that most people are just glazing over, and I think most people are just, well, that's what they get for not following orders. Again, they just want order followers, and I'm not here to knock anyone's military service, whether you're a veteran or you're currently serving. I would say that if you're probably watching this video, you probably have the best of intentions in the service that you gave or the service that you're currently giving. So I certainly don't want to downplay that. But I think most of you would back me up in what I say, because, and I say that because I get emails almost every day saying that they're disgusted. The family members that I have right now, thankfully, both of them are nearing the end of their commitments. They are both about ready to retire, completely retire. They've been in that long, and I think they both have just a few more months, thankfully. And they're excited about that because they're seeing what's going on, and they're completely disgusted with it, and they don't want to have any more to do with it because it's not what they signed up for 15, 20 years ago, however long it was. Folks, we're completely chipping away our freedoms, and we're chipping away the checks and balances. That's the whole point of them wanting to stack the Supreme Court with more justices, and to take away filibusters in the Senate, and all the things that they're wanting to do, because they want to ensure that there's no way that the actual legal constitutional process can really happen any longer. And we saw that in the last election, and I suspect we'll continue to see that kind of behavior and those kinds of actions in the future. But this news that 40,000 troops are going to be weeded out, most likely, that's not a very good thing, and I think that's something that we should all be aware of. Folks, keep getting your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.